Hi everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the question 2A of the Wassce 2010 May-June General Mathematics past question. The question says the angle of depression of a boat from the midpoint of a vertical cliff is 35 degrees. If the boat is 120 meters from the foot of the cliff, calculate the height of the cliff. So there are some main points we need to take note here. It says from the midpoint of a vertical cliff, So I will draw a vertical cliff right here. Okay, let's assume, remember these points, these drawings are not drawn to scale. So this is my vertical cliff, and it says the angle of depression of a boat. That means that you are looking at a boat from a particular height, because depression, you are looking down. Now it says from the midpoint of the vertical cliff. So now let's say this is the vertical cliff. So from the midpoint, I will take this as the midpoint of the vertical cliff. So this is the midpoint, right? Now it says from this midpoint, you are looking down. That is the angle of depression. Angle of depression of a boat from the midpoint. From this midpoint, you are looking at a boat. Okay? Take note, this is the normal eye level right here at the middle of the vertical cliff, but you are looking down, depression, to the boat. Okay? It says if the boat is 120 meters from the foot of the cliff, this is the cliff, this is the foot of the cliff right here. I can call it F. And this is the boat right here. I can call it B. So look at this. This is the foot. This is the boat right here. This is the foot of the vertical cliff. The distance of the boat from the foot of the cliff is 120 meters. So this is 120 meters. Take note, this is the middle of the cliff, and this is your normal eye level at the middle of the cliff. And it says the angle of depression, because you are looking down towards the boat, this is the angle of depression, which is 35 degrees. Very good, guys. Now the question says calculate the height of the cliff. Take note, this is the cliff right here from here to here. So I can call this A. If I call this A, that means the height of the cliff is from A to F. Okay? I can also call this midpoint M. That is the midpoint of the vertical cliff. This is the midpoint. So M to F is going to be the height from the midpoint to the foot of the cliff, which I can also call, I can say this height right here, I can say is Y. I can say is Y. That means from M to F, that height is Y. Okay? Now, there is something you need to really take note here before you can be able to solve this type of a problem. If you look at this diagram right here, let us retrace this diagram out. So you have something like this, and then you have this, and you have this. You call this 35 degrees. If you remember your alternate angles, you will be able to say that 35, this place also is 35 degrees because alternate angles are equal. Take note, alternate angles are equal. So that means 35 degrees is also going to be 35 degrees here. Okay, so right here, I can bring 35 degrees right here now. Okay, so now if you take a look at this very well, I've been able to form a right angle triangle right here. So which I'm going to draw out very well so we can be able to solve the problem set. Okay, so I have something like this. Okay, this is the 35 degrees right here. This is the 120 meters, and this is the y. Okay, now I need to find y first. If you take note, the question says calculate the height of the cliff. From A to F is the height of the cliff. But remember, this M right here, at this point right here, is the middle. So that means if I'm able to calculate y, I will be able to get the height of this, because from here to here is half of this cliff. So that means whatever I have here will also be the same thing right here, A to M, and then I can sum them up together, or you can multiply whatever you have. You can multiply whatever y gives you by 2. Let us go ahead to find the value of y first. Now you remember that the longest side of a right angle triangle is hypotenuse, where the side that the angle is facing is the opposite, and then the third side is the adjacent. Okay, if you remember your SOHCAHTOA very well, SOHCAHTOA, you realize that here you have opposite and here adjacent. This is the hypotenuse side, which is the longest side. In this case, we don't need that. We have opposite, adjacent, opposite, adjacent. So that means the formula we are going to use right here will be tan. Then I can say tan 35 degrees equals, so tan is opposite over adjacent. What is my opposite? Y over adjacent is 120. Okay, now what is tan 35 degrees? If you use your calculator, tan 35 is 0.7002 equals to y over 120. Okay, if you cross multiply, this one means over 1, right? If you cross multiply, you realize that 1 times y is y, right? So y would give you, cross multiply, is going to be 0.7002 times 120. Okay, so that means my y is going to give me 84.024 meters. That is my y. Very good, guys. Now you cannot stop here right now. Let's go back to the diagram that we sketched out. If you take a look at this, we said that this is the middle, because you are looking at the boat from the middle of the cliff. So now you've been able to get y, which is from the middle, that's half of the cliff, from the middle to the foot. That is your y, right? So that means if half of this cliff, half the height of this cliff is y, which is 84.024 meters, then what is going to be the height of the cliff from here to here? You already got half the height of the cliff. Now you want to get the full height, A to F, of the cliff. All you have to do is to multiply the y by 2. So now I can say, therefore, the height of the cliff, of the vertical cliff, okay, the height of the vertical cliff would be 2 times y. That will be 2 times, what is y? 84.024 meters. So that means the height of my vertical cliff is then going to be 168.048 meters. Very good, guys. Very good. That is your final answer. Take note of what we did again. The question says the angle of depression of a boat from the midpoint of a vertical cliff. This is the midpoint. I mean, this is the vertical cliff right here from here to here. And then this is the midpoint. This is the normal eye level of the observer from the midpoint. But depression, you have to go down. You have to look down. Look down to the boat, right? And this right here is the angle of elevation. This angle of depression. So this angle right here will be equals to this angle right here because alternate angles are equal. And then we use the formula of tan, which is opposite over adjacent, to find y, which we then multiplied by 2 to find the height of the cliff. I hope you all understand this concept. I will encourage you guys to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we put in videos every day. All right, guys, I will see you in the next class. Bye.